Continuing on my journey through the New Teen Titans, this is the New Teen Titans Volume 12. These are issues that were originally published in 1986 and 1987, and then were reprinted in Tales of the Teen Titans, which is where I discovered these in the early 90s. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, when I first started collecting comic books in the early 90s, my local comic book store had most of the Tales of the Teen Titans reprints in their 3 for $1 bin. And after I became hooked, I snatched up all I could find. So I had, these are, at the back of the volume are the covers for the reprint volumes. So I had this one. I had this one. I had that one. I didn't have that one, so that was new reading this for me. And I had this one. And actually it continues, but rather mysteriously, it stops here. So, yeah, in past volumes, at the table of contents, they would have the original series, and then I believe in parentheses they would have the reprint number for where it was reprinted in Tales of the Teen Titans. I'm going off of memory now since I've returned the previous volumes to my library, but I believe that's how they were structured. So you could see when it was originally printed and then it was where it was reprinted in Tales of the Teen Titans. They haven't done that for this issue. I don't know why, except apparently someone stopped caring. And then they have the Tales of the Teen Titans 84 to 88, but that's actually only the first part reprinted. These other issues were actually reprinted because Tales of the Teen Titans went all the way up to issue number 91. So now 91 was the last one. At 91, they canceled Tales of the Teen Titans. That was just, by that point, it was just reprinting issues that had already appeared in the New Teen Titans anyways. But issues 89, 90, 90, and 91, they should have included those covers in this collection. So it seems to be just an editorial error that somebody stopped with 88. We should be getting the covers for 89, 90, and 91. So there are a few indications here that editorially somebody was asleep at the wheel when they put this volume together. And on the back cover here, we have a picture of the New Teen Titans with, over here, this is Danny Chase, who is going to join the team later. And when I picked up this volume from the library and I saw Danny Chase's picture here, I thought, is Danny Chase in these issues? I don't remember him being in these storylines, but maybe I'm remembering wrong. So, of course, I go through and I read these stories, and nope, no Danny Chase. He doesn't show up on any of these issues. And look, here it is again on the inside cover. We also have the same picture with Danny Chase. So what's going on here? Well, I used the internet to refresh my memory, and issue 91 of Tales of the Teen Titans, which is a reprint of issue number 31, which they should have included the covers for those, but they didn't, as I've already said previously. Because that was the last issue of Tales of the Teen Titans, and because Tales of the Teen Titans was reprinting issues that had been published a year previously in the New Teen Titans, they needed to catch their readers up on what was happening in the New Teen Titans. So they had, at the end of issue 91, they had a short epilogue which just summarized all the adventures that the New Teen Titans had been on in the past year, including meeting Danny Chase. so that people who had been reading the issues in reprint and Tales of the Teen Titans would then be caught up enough to transfer over to the main comic, The New Teen Titans. Does that make sense? So Tales of the Teen Titans was reprinting the issues from a year ago until they got canceled in issue 91. So that's why Tales of the Teen Titans, which was reprinting issue number 31 from the New Teen Titans, had the picture of Danny Chase on because their epilogue was catching the readers up. But Danny Chase does not appear in the New Teen Titans issues until the next year. So when somebody put his picture here and here, they were editorially asleep at the wheel. And why they included the picture here, but they didn't include it in Tales of the Teen Titans issue 91 with the rest of the cover gallery here, I don't know. But yeah, you get the impression that somebody has stopped caring at this point in the reprint line. There's only a couple more. So there's there's volume 12, and then there's going to be volume 13 and volume 14, and then I believe they just stopped after that. There are more issues of the New Teen Titans, but these reprint volumes just stop, and I guess I'll discuss that when I get to volume 14. But yeah, we're getting very little extras here. The introductions by Marv Wolfman, in which he describes what's been going on in these issues, have stopped a long time ago, so we just have the issues. It would be nice to have some commentary on them, because I do have questions about what the writers were thinking at various points. Nobody could be bothered. Well, I guess you can't ask for everything. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out of my system, let's talk about these issues. These issues are pretty boring, at least to my mind. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. It would be interesting to have a discussion about it. But I feel like these are just the Titans going through their paces. I mean, they're fighting bad guys, they're punching stuff, but just the magic is completely gone. It's just marching through plot points and punching bad guys. And now, granted, some of this is because I'm no longer 15 anymore, and I'm no longer so interested in just people punching each other. When you're a young boy, 15 or even younger, you love these action sequences here, showing them swinging around, shooting stuff, jumping on people. All this was much more exciting to me when I was younger than I am now. But I do remember, even when I was 15 and was first collecting these issues, that the magic did seem to be gone by the time we got to this part in the series run. And I had a hard time putting my finger on exactly why. And, as with a lot of the stuff you absorb when you're young, it's before you really develop a critical sense or a critical spine. So you don't like something, but it's a little bit hard to tell exactly why. And you think, well, maybe the problem is just me. Maybe I'm just getting a little sick of the Teen Titans, or I've been reading too much of it at once, or I just need to try harder to like this stuff. But at my age, in my late 40s, you want to do a little bit more work to discover why the magic is not working. So there's nothing really wrong with these issues. Well, actually, there's plenty we can nitpick. There's all sorts of plot holes, inconsistencies, stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I will go through and nitpick all of it. But that's been true all along. From issue 1, we've had those problems. And when the emotional payoff is working better, then you're more willing to overlook a lot of these plot inconsistencies. And there have been moments when the drama is really well done. And I think for my money, that's been Volume 5 and Volume 11 of this series. So Volume 5 is the Judas Contract. Didn't make any sense plot-wise. It was just ridiculous plot. But the drama of that was well done in the sense that there was a building up of tension, and then there was the release of that tension. And then issue 11 was when well, that was the previous issue. There was a lot going on in there. But the same thing, at its best, even though the plot was not making a lot of sense, there was a great building up of tension and then a release of that tension into some sort of climax of action. Here, we don't really have any of that. The Titans are... I mean, there is still a lot of attempt to give the Titans a bit of angst or to have some sort of personal drama, but it's not really working. It feels a lot like we're just going through the motions, and it's feeling at this point that the Teen Titans have become stale. And I think this is a criticism that's been made by other people, that at a certain point the Teen Titans just became stale. And their sales numbers are going to drop in the subsequent years until finally Marv Wolfman is going to get editorial control taken away from him eventually, although we're still a couple years away from that. So, yeah, that's my overall summation of these issues. But then let's get into it and let's talk a little bit about what works and what doesn't work in a little bit more detail. So we start off and we have two plot lines playing out simultaneously. We have Memento, who is Garth Logan, Beast Boy's stepdad, who has a super-powered helmet. And we also have Brother Blood, who's going to be coming up a little bit later. Both of these are plot lines that have been simmering now for many issues. And both of them are plot lines that are redos or going over ground that was already covered in the early issues of the new Teen Titans. So for whatever reason, Marv Wolfman wanted to go back and revisit these same antagonists, but just do it much longer this time. And the idea of story in serialization is something that I first found fascinating about comics when I was younger. The idea of this ongoing story, which just stretches out issue after issue, and which, stuff is teased out very slowly for months or even years before it fully comes into the forefront of the plot. I just found that kind of storytelling fascinating when I was younger. So I do admire to a certain extent how Marv Wolfman is able to keep these various plates going. He's able to keep all these plates spinning, but at the same time, this is boring. We are redoing stuff that we've already done before earlier in the Teen Titans history. And it just seems to go on and on without really kind of reaching without really going anywhere. The progression is not really evident. So by the time we do get to the defeat of Brother Blood at the end of this volume, it's with a sense of exhaustion, and now we still have Memento left to go. Anyways, we start off where we left off in the previous volume with the old Teen Titans, who Wonder Girl has assembled in the absence of the new Teen Titans, and they are saying their farewells here. I think this was actually already covered in previous issues where they left. But again, since I've returned volume 11 to the library already, I can't double check that physically, just relying off of memory. Robin says his goodbyes, although he's going to be back in just a couple of issues, so this seems a little bit pointless. Flash sticks around. So if it's okay with you, I'm staying with you guys at least for a while. I'm not sure what was going on in Flash's own magazine, but here he is. He's sticking around for several issues here with the new Teen Titans. Now, Flash was one of the original members of the new Teen Titans. Back then he was Kid Flash. Now, because of the events of the Crisis, he's been promoted to the real Flash. But it's still Wally West. It's not the original Barry Allen Flash who's there. I read years ago in an interview somewhere, I don't remember where this was, Marv Wolfman was talking about why he wrote Kid Flash out of the Teen Titans to begin with. And his issue was Kid Flash was just too powerful. I mean, if you have someone who can just move in so fast you can't even see him, then he could just run around and tie up all the bad guys before the other Teen Titans even got there. And that seemed fair enough to me. You know, that was a good explanation of why this hero was too powerful to be any fun with the rest of the team, have engaging stories. But with that explanation in mind, I'm a little bit mystified as to why Marv Wolfman keeps bringing him back, because it's like he had second thoughts about writing the Flash out. Now the Flash is back. But the Flash is back, but he's pretty useless. He keeps getting caught by the bad guys. And caught or hit by them. So, now, there's some explanation about how he's not as fast as he used to be. And if I was more up on my DC lore, maybe I would know what was going on with the Flash at this point in DC continuity. So I guess maybe he's not quite as fast as he used to be. But I still think the Flash should be faster than he is. He shouldn't be getting hit by the bad guys the way he is. Anyways, the Flash is with them. And they're going after Memento. Now, as I've said in my reviews of the previous issues in which Memento has appeared, Memento is just way too powerful to make for an interesting bad guy. He's got such mental powers that he could just dissolve the Teen Titans anytime he wants. And in fact, he does. He demonstrates this when they've got Aqualad captured. Let me find this. So they've got Aqualad captured. He uses his mental powers. Poof. There goes another superhero. So he just dissolves them into dust. But then he agrees to reconstruct him. The explanation is that Aqualad is not the one he wants. He wants the main members of the new Teen Titans. So he's the whole time he's just talking about how much he wants revenge on the new Teen Titans. But why doesn't he just dissolve them into dust? He's got the mental power to. Instead, he creates his own team of villains called the Hybrid, which are people whose physical makeup he's rearranged with the power of his mind, and he sends them to attack the Titans instead. But yeah, it's just, I don't understand what's going on with this Memento storyline. He seems to be powerful enough to kill all the Titans all at once with his mind, and he just doesn't do it. So there's the storyline never made sense to me. It always just gives me a bit of a headache trying to figure out why Memento is still fighting them when he could just dissolve them with a thought. So after fighting Memento for a while, they decide that they're going to go fight Brother Blood and leave Memento alone. Now, Brother Blood at this point has Dick Grayson, Nightwing, and Raven under his mind control. Again, this is redoing an earlier storyline because earlier Dick Grayson was also under Brother Blood's mental powers. So, yeah, the Titans decide to go out. Corey comes back from her planet to rejoin the Titans. And they go out. Jason Todd comes back, which, it was a little bit silly that he left in the first place, only to come back a couple issues later. I don't know if Marv Wolfman just changed his mind on whether he wanted Jason Todd around or what. And then Cyborg says, we can't keep this up all night, or we can get down to work. Sorry, we can keep this up all night, or we can get down to work. Corey, we're heading off to Zandia to find Dick and Raven. You coming? And we can see the Flash and Jason Todd there. And then they get to Zandia, and everyone is there except the Flash, who is gone for several issues. Until he's not. Until we get a few issues later, and then he just shows up again. So why the Flash? Did I miss something? Why is the Flash not joining them in Zandia? I don't know. But they're in Zandia, and then there's a villain called Twister. And she shows up and fights the Titan. She's able to produce these hallucinations where she twists their reality. But then, right when she's got them in her power, she just drives off. And what happens to the new Teen Titans? Are they still suffering from these illusions? Well, I guess not. The next time we see them, they're just looking perfectly fine. Now, it's evidence that she can use her hallucinations to send people hurling to their deaths. So why she doesn't do that with the new Teen Titans, I don't know. It's one of those comic book things that don't make any sense. So it's the Teen Titans fight the Brotherhood of Evil. The Brotherhood of Evil is another group that has a bunch of superpowers that you would think would make it very hard for them to be defeated, except they never seem to use all their powers effectively, which allows the Titans to battle them. There is a big explosion here, in which is implied that at least some of the members of the Brotherhood of Evil are caught up in that explosion, but then this just gets dropped. When we pick up the storyline again, we're not pursuing that. Then we have an annual here. Now, the annuals are, well, not connected to the main storyline. So it's a framing device in which Wonder Girl is telling her stepdaughter a story about the new Teen Titans battling these robot dinosaurs, which I just find boring. I mean, it's okay. But then the second part of the annual is the origin story of Brother Blood, which is okay. Nothing special here. And then after the annual, then we get back to our main storyline. So Brother Blood at this point is in New York. And exactly how he and his church ended up in New York, along with Nightwing and Raven, who are, again, still being brainwashed here. I don't know if I missed something. It is set up in the previous issue that Cyborg has been searching for Brother Blood's churches in the United States. So I guess that's how the Titans find out they're here. But okay, whatever. We're shifting to New York now. Azrael, who was introduced in previous issues of the New Teen Titans, is also under Brother Blood's control. Azrael is largely useless in these issues. I mean, he serves as kind of... because he's under Brother Blood's control, he makes it look like he's an angel who's delivering Brother Blood back to life, even though that's not exactly what's happening. That there's something else going on. You could cut him out of this whole story fairly easily and not lose anything. Just the Brother Blood Church had found some other symbolic way of bringing Brother Blood back to life. You get the impression that Marv Wolfman just didn't know what to do with Azrael. When he was introduced to several issues previously, he was introduced with a lot of momentum. Like his destiny was intertwined with Lilith's, and there was some huge destiny that awaited them, but that has not happened. So I guess he's just waiting for something significant to do. The Titans come back, and then we have Flash again, and his girlfriend comes to berate him for being a superhero, even though he's supposed to have given it up. I'm not sure what's going on in the pages of the main Flash magazine at that time, main Flash comic book. That might be interesting to compare, but I don't have those issues. Robot Man shows up as well. And then they fight Brother Blood. Now, to a certain extent, Brother Blood does make for a good antagonist for the Teen Titans just because he has so many minions. So when you have a team, you need something for them each to do. If there's a whole bunch of bad guys to fight at once, that gives them all something to do and allows you to make these visual panels like this. But Brother Blood himself is a pretty boring bad guy who doesn't really seem to have any motivations or personality, despite that lengthy backstory we read through earlier. And it's not clear what his powers are. He wants to kill the Teen Titans, but as with Memento, he seems to be fighting with one hand behind his back or never letting loose his full powers. So over and over again, the Titans attack him. And over again, he repulses them with these beams that he has. So here's him destroying Robot Man's body. Although leaving Robot Man's heads so that Robot Man can be resurrected again. But if he has these powers to, here he is shooting out at Starfire, shooting out at the Flash, but never killing any of them. And this is one of actually a few different panels in which he just sends all the Titans flying at once with a burst of energy. I think it's shown in other places that this energy has the ability to kill when he wants it to. But, he just seems to be constantly shooting out energy and knocking the Titans back, but never killing them, despite the fact that keeps talking like he wants to kill them. Nightwing is under Brother Blood's control here, and Starfire pleads with him to break free of the control, but he doesn't do it when Starfire pleads. Although later, when Brother Blood is fighting Cyborg, suddenly that breaks him free momentarily of Brother Blood's control. So I don't know if he's secretly more in love with Cyborg than he is with Starfire, who's supposed to be his romantic interest. I'm going to have to continue this in part 2. I've got a little bit more to say. So